Generational divides are surfacing as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Gen Z, millennials, and baby boomers are all pointing fingers. Is any particular generation to blame? With more on this is Dr. Patty Ann Tublin. She joins us now. Doctor, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you on.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start from the beginning of this crisis. The younger generations appear to be a little less worried about the pandemic than others. Is there more to that than just a sense of youthful immortality, Dr. Tublin?
Probably because millennials and Gen Zs, these are generations that absolutely value their freedom and independence, perhaps more than previous generations. They had parents that, pretty much would pave the way for them. They would get a trophy for just participating. So this generation really loves to be able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. So social distancing and everything going on now with the pandemic is particularly hard for them.
I'm glad you mentioned that because many millennials are complaining that the boomers are the ones that are continuing to socialize. Now, despite their age making them a little more susceptible to the virus, how can younger people convince their parents to take coronavirus a lot more seriously?
So this is really an interesting point, Henna, because the baby boomers are worried that their parents aren't taking this seriously. And perhaps that's rooted in the fact that the older generation really is in a little bit of denial with the fact that they are in fact older. So they feel like, oh, this doesn't apply to them, even though in many ways they are the targeted generation for the disease. By the same token, the elder generation is upset that the baby boomers and the Gen Zers are not adhering to everything that we need because they're doing the partying and going on spring break. So it's a little bit of both sides blaming each other. And it's probably rooted in both sides being in a little bit of denial. And in fairness to the younger people, the media initially said that they really would not be getting the coronavirus. So I understood a little bit of their resistance based on that.
That's actually a really good point. And speaking of those younger people, Gen Z and millennials, to a certain degree, grew up in the information age. So they're primed for a digital existence. But with that said, are they finding this easier to adapt to?
So again, yes and no. This generation has a zero learning curve for getting online, socializing, Zoom, WhatsApp, everything. However, because of their youth, which has been true since the beginning of time, they really crave the social interaction, the one-on-one, the group parties, the rages, all of that. So in that regard, this particularly strikes them harder than perhaps the baby boomers because your world shrinks a little bit as you age. Whereas the younger generation, they love to be surrounded by people, even though they are better equipped to deal with the whole digital media and the social media to stay connected.
All right, doctor, age differences aside, what are some tips for maybe better relating to one another under these sorts of circumstances?
So, this is a perfect opportunity for all the generations to learn from each other, right? The baby boomers could really do well to listen to their children and their children's friends and to learn how to do social media, how to do distance learning, how to stay connected on Zoom, have Zoom dinner parties, happy hour. They can learn so much from the younger people. And the younger people can absolutely learn from the baby boomers how to be able to handle things in a crisis when they can't do what they want to do. Because by definition, the older you get, the more life has thrown you curveballs. So you learn how to handle things as you go along. This is not the first rodeo for baby boomers in a crisis. And for many younger people, this is really the first imposed crisis that nature has imposed upon us on a worldwide scale.
A great insight, Dr. Patty Ann Tublin. Thank you so much for joining us, doctor.
Thank you, Hannah.